are and why you need them. So if you've been watching a lot of my videos on the channel, what you will understand is that I use footprint charts every single time I execute. So I just want to make a few things clear before we even go into basic definitions. Footprint charts are not used as a strategy. Footprint charts are a tool to read the buyers and sellers, just like we went through in the last video. Footprint charts are a tool that you use to go through, right? They are a tool. They are not an indicator. They're not a bot. They're not an algo. You cannot program them into an algo. They are on software that you can use, and the footprint charts, again, are not an indicator. But the basic definition of footprint charts works something like this, right? So I want you to think of it this way. So the candlesticks show you the story, but footprint charts in real time tell you the story. So if you look at the top image here, and you look at the bottom image here, they are the same image, right? So this candle here, and then this big red candle. These three candles here represent these three. So this candle, this candle, this candle. So I just want to set the scoreboard here, if you like. So the market is nothing but a story of buyers and sellers. And so your ability to trade price comes down to your ability to read price, right? Reading price comes down to being in the now time frame. So these are things that I spoke about in my previous video on lesson 1, what is order flow. If you haven't watched that video and you're jumping to video 2, video 3, I recommend you clicking off this video unless you want to take it seriously. Being able to read footprint charts is the only skill you need in your trading. It's not the only skill, but when it comes to execution, it is the only skill. Because you can take any strategy or any so-called strategy, and if you're not executing with order flow, then I'm not sure what you're doing, because execution simply comes down to exactly what I've said on the screen. It comes down to your ability to trade price, right? Your ability to trade price comes down to your ability to read price. So one thing I often say to people is that whenever you're trading Forex, there's one of two buttons you can press, right? The buy and sell button. When you trade futures, there's only one of two buttons you can press. What are they? When you trade crypto, stocks, like Meta or like Tesla, Meta and stuff, gold, Bitcoin, there's only two buttons you can press when it comes down to actually executing, and that is the buy and that is the sell. And so candles will only ever show you the story as they're happening, or typically after they've happened. So one thing I often say to traders, and I've got this written down in my notes here, right, is I want you to think in this framework. So every single psychological issue you face can be fixed if you actually know how to read price instead of predicting it. Because if you're predicting price, you're trading with a huge amount of ego, which is not necessary in the markets, right? So I often say the market extracts two things, either money, you can either extract your money, or you can either extract ego, right? So trading without order flow is very egotistical. Your ability to read the markets will only come down to how you read the buyers and sellers, right? Because the market is a story. And this is a theme that we're going to keep coming back to throughout the entire video. So before we go on to that, what you can hopefully see is that this wick over here, or this green candle, right? What we can see here is we can see a lot of red inside the green candle, right? Even here we have another green candle. We can see both blue and red, and you can see an intense color sort of gradient here, and you can see a less intense gradient here, right? So being able to read the story inside the candles is the only thing you need to become profitable, and there is nothing else, right? I don't want to say this is the holy grail, because you can use order flow and still get it very wrong. But if you're using order flow, you're on the path to getting it very right. So what is order flow? So you should